Today, I'm putting my DIY skills to the test. My name's Tina, and if you've been watching for a while, you know that I'm a home decor lover. I love a good challenge, and duping expensive decor for way less has kind of become a staple on this channel. I've duped some pretty amazing projects in the past, like really amazing. But I've always wondered how my DIYs would stand up against the real deal, so today we're getting a second opinion. Meet my husband Brian. I can always count on him to be my right-hand man, and also count on him to always be in his blue tea while doing it. Today, he's going in blind to judge my dupe versus the original side by side and let you guys know which one is better. Let's see if I can dupe him with my dupes. Hello you guys! I am so excited for today's video. We are doing a really fun challenge and I need an extra special guest to help me with it.
Oh, do I come in now?
Yeah.
Hello you guys. Hi.
Hello. How do you feel about this challenge?
I'm actually super excited. I am a little bit nervous though.
Why?
I don't want to sleep on the couch.
I promise I won't be offended if he thinks the store-bought version is better than my DIY version, so...
You heard it here first. I'm really excited to see how this pans out because, like I said a million times, like Tina is the most creative person I know. I've seen her create some crazy DIYs and just makeovers in general, and I witness it and I'm just like, how still?
I think what I'm most excited about is just seeing how they compare. So usually when I do these videos, I just look at the photo and I don't get to see it in person, so I don't know if my DIY is better. I mean, usually it's cheaper, but today we're gonna put it to the test.
I'm excited to see it, and you also heard it here first. She won't be mad. Let's go!
All the projects that I'm doing for this video are going to be inspired by Urban Outfitters pieces. So I have the first one right here. This is the Isabel wall shelf. This is a really popular piece. It comes in different styles. So this is a smaller wall shelf version, but they also have like a large bookcase or also a longer cabinet, I believe. So how I created today, you could totally transfer that into a larger scale project, but this is what we're working with. It is $179. And just looking at the product details, it is made from MDF and plastic, I believe. Also hardware not included, which is kind of annoying. And what's helpful is that it does list the dimensions here, so I'm going to make it a similar size as well. And I also want to scroll down to the reviews and see what people have said about it, because sometimes things look better online, but then once you get them, they're not that great. So already I see some not so great reviews. So 1 star, too heavy. They said they weren't able to put it up because it just did not stay on the wall. Another person said they received a cheap plastic version of it and it is really heavy. So that's kind of interesting to me that they said it's cheap and plastic, but it's also heavy. So I'm super interested to see what this actually looks like once we get it in. I have a game plan to make it look as similar to the original as possible. So let's get started. Let's open her up, shall we? This is way bigger than I thought it would be. Oh, this is so cute. Are you ready to see it? Here she is. Wow, okay. This is MDF. Yes, it is quite heavy. First impression is that this is pretty big. I thought it was going to be a lot smaller, so I'm going to try my best to make my version to scale. It also comes with this mounting hardware. So this is a cleat. You would put this on the wall and then it would basically slide into place, and that way you can mount it. But it seems online that this is really heavy and you're not able to. So that's really interesting because I feel like a French cleat like this works really well, especially for heavier items. So when we build ours, I definitely want to make it a little bit lighter than this, but it basically is 3 sections. So there's this larger opening, a bottom one, and then this top one, which has the 3 smaller openings, but is basically one big shelf over here. Now that I've seen this in person, I feel like we can definitely DIY a version that's going to be a lot cheaper and also look just as good as this one. So I have, is the thing crooked? So I have the front and the back here, and now it is time to make some curved corners as well as map out the arches. So I'm going to try to get it as close to the original as possible. The biggest arch basically takes up a third of the shelf, so that's what I'm going to start with, and then I'll map out the rest. I don't trust myself to freehand this, so of course I'm going to use my square, and I'm basically drawing a 1 1/4 inch border around the whole perimeter just to start. Then I drew in a box for the largest arch, and that's going to be about 10 inches away from the right edge, and I basically left another 1.25 inch space in between that arch and the rest of the other cubby holes. I wanted my design to be slightly different than the original just because I thought it would look a little bit better if all the arches were on the same height line, so that's what I'm doing here. And what's really nice about this project is that you can make these cubbies whatever shape and size that you want, so if you don't want arches, you can totally use circles or rounded blobs or whatever you want. And as you can see, I just used a bunch of random objects around the house to make my arches. It was in this moment that I wished that I just had a compass because that would make things a lot easier, but I did end up using my handy dandy DIY compass for the largest arch at the end because I really could not find anything that was going to be big enough. So having this is really helpful, and once we were done, it was ready to be cut. Let's make sure this fits. Perfect. Now that we have all the holes, the blade is going to fit inside perfectly, and this will help us get the cut started. And since we're using MDF, it actually makes it a lot easier to make smoother cuts as opposed to using wood. So that is definitely a plus in using MDF, but remember to always use a scroll blade, especially when you're cutting curves. I was going pretty slow for this part, and my hand actually started cramping up by the end of this, but I was just so determined to cut all of these arches out. This is so cute. Here is the front of our shelf so far. Cutting out the arches was honestly the part that I was most nervous about, and now that I'm done and I'm actually seeing it, I think it looks really good, and I'm honestly just really proud of myself. Whenever I see projects like this that I want to attempt, I always get a little bit intimidated, but once I get started, it honestly is not that bad. It just takes a little bit of patience, and I got a little arm workout as well, so that was an added bonus. I'm really happy with how it's looking, and now it is time to work on the actual box. I'm using pre-primed pine. I'm gonna start with the outer box first and then work my way to the shelves. Once everything was cut and I did a quick dry fit, I went ahead and put it all together. So I'm going to start by adding some wood glue to each of the edges, and we're just going to screw together the whole entire box. So this part was pretty straightforward. So you're going to see that I put 3 of the sides together first, and then I just slid in that divider before I actually put in the final piece. And as always, I do recommend doing some pilot holes beforehand, otherwise you can risk splitting the edges, which I definitely did at first, so don't make the same mistake that I did. Oh my god, yes. It is perfect. Prime time. While we wait for the wood glue to dry, I went ahead and just primed the inside facing sides of the front and the back. I hope that makes sense. And I figured it would be easier to do that now before we actually put everything together. Otherwise, it's gonna be really hard to paint when we have those cubbies in. And priming is one step that you just cannot skip when working with MDF. So I did 2 coats of that, and then I followed it with 2 coats of our white paint. Doing that extra step of hand sanding it really did smooth it out, so I think this is as good as it's going to get. Before I actually put this onto the box, I want to go ahead and just paint the inside, otherwise it's going to be really hard to do it later. I'll do a quick coat of that, let that dry, and then we can put it all together. I have all the inner pieces primed and ready to go, so now I'm going to take my brad nailer and put it all together. I think I'll start with the back piece, like so. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I'm going to put this together. I'm going to attach the back and then the front, and then I'm basically going to sand it again just to make sure that everything is a little bit more curvy. So for example, on the front piece, I already curved the edges here with my sander, so I'm going to do the same exact thing with these edges as well. That way it makes it a little bit softer and also looks a little bit closer to the original piece as well. Okay, let's do this. Just gonna be a little extra and caulk the inside. Wow, she's a beaut. We're giving this one final sanding to really round out those edges, and for this I'm basically just running my sander onto the corners at a 45-degree angle, and I'm just moving the sander back and forth to create that rounded look. I also did that on all 4 corners to really match up the front frame. This method is really easy to do, especially if you're not keen to actually bending wood, which I'm definitely not at that level yet, so I think this is a great alternative and gives us a similar look. We are almost at the finish line, so it's time to paint this entire thing. I of course had to prime it first, and then I gave it 2 coats of some white paint that I already had left over. And since we caulked and filled everything, it was looking pretty seamless, so by the time I was done, I made sure to give it a final top coat just to seal it all in. I just set up the 2 pieces side by side, and I must say they look pretty good. I'm gonna get Brian and see his reaction. Let's see if we can dupe him.
I haven't been down here for like a week.
Oh my gosh. Okay, close your eyes, follow me. Oh man, this is a hazard. Oh, sorry. Oh my god. Okay, on 3, open your eyes, okay? 1, 2, 3.
What?
Okay, so now that you're looking at both of them, I'm not gonna let you touch them. Can you tell which one is the DIY?
They literally look exactly the same. I'm not even joking. You made one of these?
Yeah. I feel like you can tell if you look at very specific parts of it. Like...
I'll be real.
What?
I'm sorry if this comes off offensive.
What? I will not be offended because I'm very happy with
I think this one looks like the styrofoam coolers. And this looks way better.
Really?
Yeah, I think this one looks more expensive.
Like the texture?
The texture on it. This one just looks like it's higher quality.
Really?
Did you make this? I'm sorry.
No, I made that one!
Oh.
I feel like the dead giveaway is the corners here.
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like that'd be really hard to DIY unless you were like a really crazy skilled carpenter. So I tried to emulate that with this.
You made this?
Yeah. I feel like once you touch the original, you can kind of tell more than the DIY.
For some context, I grew up in a room where I had no posters, nothing.
Like no
just
decor.
just a mattress and a TV. So this is crazy to me that you built this.
Honestly, now that I see them side by side, they are like pretty
So
close.
similar. Okay, now I can kind of see it. Like this has a little bump right here.
Yeah. Like the shapes on here are more irregular, but I feel like it is like a little bit smoother.
This is
but
insane,
you know what?
babe. I really
Thank you, honey.
I still think this one's more aesthetic though. How much is this?
This was $180. And then for this one, I only spent money on the pine. So I think I spent less than $30 to make this.
30 bucks. You're so talented.
Thanks, honey. So, what do you rate my DIY?
Well, I would give it a 5 since I thought it was better. So, yeah, I like this one a lot.
DIY wins.
No couch.
Alright, so next on the chopping block is this shelf from the Urban Outfitters website. It has such a cool shape to it and really does look like a sunset. This is such a fun conversational piece. It retails for $34 and I did read one of the reviews. It said that it is cheaply made and also that it's really small. So I'm interested to see what this actually looks like in person. And also you can tell that this is plywood because you can see the layers on the shelf. So I think I'm going to elevate that a little bit and make it look nicer. So I'll probably use some select pine wood for that, but other than the gradient, I think this is a really easy, doable project. Let's go downstairs and get started. Okay guys, let's see what this one looks like. I'm very, very interested to see how big it is. A box within a box. It looks like someone already opened this one. Oh wow, this thing really is tiny. Small. Okay, so first thing that I noticed is that there is a little bit of gradient here as well. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it has that yellowy tone and the rest is purple. And I don't know if that is on purpose or not, but personally, I would like it if this whole thing was purple and then up here is where we get kind of those sunset tones. So yeah, my shelf is definitely gonna be bigger than this. I hope it doesn't give it away when Brian sees it. It's also not the best quality because even on the edges here, it's kind of rubbing away. You can see all those layers of the plywood as well. I think we could definitely DIY this and make it look even better than the store-bought version. Okay, let's start. To build this shelf, I'm going to need some select pine right here. This is just a scrap piece that I had on hand. And then you're gonna wanna grab a wood round. So you can find this at any hardware store or also at the craft store. I've seen them there as well. And you're basically going to cut this in half. So I have some scrap cutoff pieces that I already have, which I think I'm gonna use so that I don't waste anything. Let's see, which one? Probably go with the larger one. I'm gonna go with this one and it looks really cute. It is just a little bit too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this on the miter saw. Oh my god. So I'm ready to paint, but before I actually work on the actual piece, I wanted to do some testing because as you can see, the paint on here is actually quite transparent, so you can still see the wood grain underneath. So I want to test out using glazing medium, and then I also have some polyurethane here. I'm wondering if you mix this with some paint, it'll actually shear it out and do kind of a similar effect. So let's try it out and see how it looks. Just gonna pour some on this plate. And I'm gonna try it with this purple here. That's a good amount. So I think I did a third paint and then 2/3 of the poly. So let's see if that does anything or if it's still opaque. Or opaque. I don't know how to say it, guys. I'm gonna use a brush for this just to see. Oh yeah, that does a really good job actually. This actually worked out quite well, except I think it's a little bit too sheer, so I would actually add more paint to this. Okay, let's add more paint. And then we'll do a little bit of this. That looks pretty perfect actually. Okay, that is a winning combo for sure. Now that I know this works, I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the real thing. I did have the glazing medium, which works really well, but if you already have some poly, you don't have to go out and buy this. So yeah, let's get to painting. Time for the part that I'm most nervous about, which is the gradient on the sun here. So it fades from purple to like an orange to yellow up top. I'm gonna go ahead and test it on my scrap piece before I even attempt it on the real thing. So let's see how this goes. Do we do the hot orange? Sure, let's go for it. How does one do this? Oh, that is very neon-y. Oh, okay, that's not that bad. Maybe I need to do it with fresh purple paint. Okay, here's a fresh layer. Then we have the orange. And maybe I use a different brush to blend the two. Yellow. Do you guys remember those infomercials? That would be like two colors next to each other blended like this? This is what that reminds me of. It's getting a little bit hard for me to blend because I think the wood is kind of sucking up the paint. So what I'm going to do is actually add a layer of polyurethane on this, and that way it acts as a barrier, and then I think I could blend the colors a little bit better. When going into a new DIY, I usually like to test things out first so that when I get into the actual project, it's a lot less nerve-wracking, which this definitely helps. So that is a huge tip that I have for you guys, especially if you're starting out with DIY. I went in by adding a little at a time, and I also had some extra foam brushes on hand. These had no paint on them, and it just helped blend in the two colors. I've never in my life have blended purple into orange, so I honestly was very impressed myself that I was able to pull this off, and I really think adding the polyurethane just helped make the paint a little bit more fluid, so that was a really good method to get the transparent look, and I was able to go back and forth to get the gradient just right. After I got the yellow on there, I did realize it was a little bit too bright, so I went back in with an ochre to tone it down, and then I'm just gonna let that dry. Okay, can we just take a moment here? I'm really proud of this gradient. And once we put it on our shelf, look at how magical that is. I'm gonna go ahead and screw these together and then give it a final top coat so that everything is nice and protected. I really hope that Brian thinks this is the store-bought one because honestly, I think I like it better than the actual one. Okay, time for round two.
Okay, it's like...
Okay. Okay, open.
That one's so much bigger.
I know. There is
Wow.
a size difference.
The adhesive on this looks pretty bad, but there's a little gap right here. Oh, God.
So bad critiques for both?
They both look great. I think I like this one because I think it's more functional, and this looks like kind of cheaper.
Okay.
I'm gonna say you made this one because I think you would make it more functional and bigger.
Yeah.
If they can see here, it's a little not even.
Oh yeah, because the wood that I use actually is not.
So you made this!
Darn it!
There we go.
I should not have used a bowed piece of wood, but
Yeah, because I'm looking here at this one. I don't know, I feel like it's from like the 90s. Like,
yeah, I guess
this
does.
one looks more aged, and there's a price tag on it. In all honesty, right here, I believe that this is better. This is more of my style because it's actually functional. It actually makes a bigger statement on a wall versus like this.
True.
This is like tiny.
I know, when I opened it, I was like, why is it so small?
Honestly, we should just do this.
That is so cool.
No shade though.
I guess the consensus is he could tell this is a DIY,
Yeah.
but it looks better than the original.
That's a 4.75 out of 5 stars.
This one is $34.
34.
Yeah. I basically made this for free because I already had everything on hand. So. Alright guys, it is time to move on to the last project, and this one is inspired by a laundry detergent vase. I feel like this is going to be one of those pieces that people either love or hate. Personally, I think this is a really fun one because I have a couple of vases that definitely do remind me of a laundry detergent bottle. So this is a literal version of that. $48, and there are no reviews on this, and from what I can see, this actually does really look like a laundry detergent vase. Even the top has those little lines where you would put the cap on, so I think that's kind of a fun little detail. This is definitely a fun trend because I've been seeing other laundry detergent vases. So there's another one that I've seen that is $135, and even on West Elm they have a $125 milk jug vase, which I think you could definitely make that version as well if you follow along this tutorial. Okay, this box is pretty small, you guys. This is so funny because whenever I see things online, I picture it being a lot bigger. So let's see. Very cute. Oh my god, it's so cute, you guys. Wow. I feel like I'm holding more like a dish soap bottle. Like this would be a really tiny laundry detergent bottle. Like if I bought this, it would be for like travel or something. Yeah, I really love the color of this. What's funny is you can actually see the seam on the side here of like where they did the mold. And on a real detergent bottle, you would actually see that as well. So I don't know if that was on purpose or it was just left that way, but yeah. Here it is. For this project, we of course need a laundry detergent bottle. So here is the one that I grabbed. I found this at my local Dollar Tree, and I must say I really like the shape of it. I think it is the perfect size. And also when I take off the cap, it doesn't have that little spout. So this is perfect for putting flowers in. I already emptied it out, but I'm going to use the soap for cleaning towels and things, so that will not go to waste. And now what I'm gonna do is just take off the sticker. Hopefully it will come off easy. I really hate when stickers are difficult to peel off. Oh, this one's a hard one. Ooh, okay, I think I got it. Oh, so close. So obviously this is really lightweight, and since I want to use it as a vase, I don't want it to tip over, so I'm going to add some cement to the bottom so that it weighs it down. All I'm really gonna do is put some cement at the bottom here, add some water, swish it around a little bit, and then I'll let it harden. I'm starting off with Mod Podge spray and doing it one section at a time, and we're basically going to sprinkle some of that cement on top and then spray some more to seal it in. I've tried this technique before and it works really well to create a faux stone look, and I first saw Schmood do this. I'm not quite sure how it works, but I think what is happening is that the adhesive spray is basically activating the cement while also bonding it together. So that allows you to use this technique on so many different surfaces. So if you want to recreate this project but do it on a different object, you totally can do it and create such a unique look. And basically you're going to see me repeat this process around the whole entire piece, and I also just made sure to give it one good spray at the end to make sure that everything is sealed in. After letting it dry, this is where we're at right now. I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. You will notice that right here I wasn't able to get it in there, but I think once we paint it over that will be fine, and that way this is a little bit more defined as well. Other than that, I think this is very convincing. It looks like someone made this out of stone. I probably could have sifted the cement before I put it on because my cement was a little bit chunky, so I'm gonna go ahead and just sand this down. That way it's nice and smooth and we can paint it whatever color we want. Okay, this is not turning out how I wanted it to, and I think it's from the spray paint that I used. I used a glossy spray paint and it looks really, really shiny, which I don't want. And then it also started cracking a little bit, so I'm going to try to fix this. Everything was working so well, and now I feel like it just does not look like what I had envisioned. It literally is the night before I have to show this to Brian, and this totally just is not working. I'm gonna try to see if I can fix this. I have not given up yet, so let me figure this out. Joint compound fixes everything, right? This was the first thing that I thought of to kind of fix some of the cracking that was happening. I'm just gonna spread it and smooth it onto the surface. I'm not really sure why this happened after I spray painted it. Maybe it wasn't dry enough, so I probably should have waited a little bit before I moved on to the next step. But here we are, and to be honest guys, after this moment I was seriously contemplating just scrapping the whole project and not sharing it, but I wanted to be transparent and show you that DIY is not linear. More times than not, you'll probably run into an issue, and all you can do is just learn from the issues, make it work, and move forward. So that is what I'm going to do here. After it dried down, it was looking a little bit better, so I went ahead and just sanded that, and then I used this terracotta paint, which I totally forgot that I had. It has a really nice texture to it, plus I like this color a lot better than what I had previously, so let's hope that this turns out well. Okay, this next one, I feel like you're already gonna know which is which. And I also kind of messed it up, but I think I fixed it. So on the count of 3, you can open. 1, 2, 3.
Are these bottles?
Maybe.
This is real home decor?
Yes. People pay good money for this.
I want to say I wish that was yours, but I think this is you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the texture isn't as finely done.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that this is a lot smoother.
Yeah.
Darn.
I mean, this is still cool if you had it in your house. I feel like it'd still be like nice decor, but this one's just way smoother and like
you could
more
tell
done.
from the texture for sure. Like, this is smoother. But you know what? I made this for only $1.50. I think this was like $50 basically.
More than the last one?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And online, I thought it was gonna be a lot bigger, but it's supposed to be a laundry detergent bottle, but it looks like a dish soap bottle.
I would choose this one for sure. I think this one has higher quality. I give this DIY like a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I gotta be real. It's not bad. I mean,
just look at the bottle. I think on camera it looks really good though, but yeah, in person you could definitely tell just because there is a lot more texture on this one, but it has a more handcrafted feel, right?
If people are buying these for 50 bucks, we got a new calling. We'll be rich. To be brutally honest, I am thoroughly impressed with your DIYs today, because that first DIY came out amazing and I really could not tell which one's the better.
That is like the biggest compliment ever.
But this last one I definitely could tell. I know that I always hype Tina up, but I just want to say how big of an inspiration she is to a lot of you guys and to me myself, to show you that it is possible as long as you put your mind to it. So thank you for always inspiring us.
Oh.
But not this one.
I actually really like it still. Okay, so there you have it. Those were my dupes versus the originals, and I loved seeing Ryan's reaction. I'm actually surprised that I fooled him with this big piece versus this one down here, but either way, I will take it. Let me know in the comments which project was your favorite and which one you guys would also DIY. This honestly was such a fun video to film, and I hope you guys liked it as well. And if you guys want to see more challenges like this, I would love to hear your thoughts on what we could do. So if you have any DIY requests, definitely let me know in the comments. I am just really proud of all these projects, especially that one. Even though it was not the best, I almost quit on it, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because side by side I think it looks really good. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and follow me over on Instagram if you haven't already. I post on there every single day. That is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!